Shalom, everybody. Welcome back. This week's Parsha Eikev continues the book of Devarim and starts off with telling us, "And it will be upon your listening to the commandments and you observe and perform them that Hashem your God will safeguard you in the covenant and the kindness that he swore to your forefathers." A little bit later on over here in sentence 16 in the same chapter, the verse tells us, "And you shall devour all the peoples that Hashem your God delivers into you, and your eyes shall not have pity on them, and you shall not worship their gods." Well, obviously, if they're the enemy, you're not going to have pity on them. An interesting sentence over here. Our commentaries point out, and this is something that's gone on from time to time, especially in Jewish history. Especially the Orach Chaim writes about this, when you have mercy on the cruel, meaning that you want to protect your enemies, you want to save them, even though they are the ones who are coming up to destroy you. In the end, you will be cruel to your own people. How many times has this actually happened in Jewish history? I don't think there's any clearer case than King Achav, king of Israel, master of the land. And he went out to battle against Ben-Hadad up in Damascus. The battle was cruel, and God had delivered Ben-Hadad and his people into the hands of the king of Israel. A great miracle occurred, for they were far outnumbered. And it was toward the end of this battle that Ben-Hadad was caught, and he ran himself into a cave and closed himself. And Achav, the king of Israel, comes and says, "Is Ben-Hadad, my brother, still around?" Now that seems to be something that's not so normal. This is a person who had come to attack the kingdom of Israel, to destroy us. And after this victory, this miraculous victory that happened over here, Achav turns around and instead of taking his arch enemy, Ben-Hadad, and hanging him in the square, instead of that, what does he do? He says, "Is this my brother?" He comes out and hugs him and sends him on his way. Well, sure enough, Ben-Hadad goes back to Damascus, regroups, rearms, and comes back again, just a mere 2-3 years afterwards, to do battle again against his brother, Achav. Well, needless to tell you that this time Ben-Hadad had the upper hand and actually killed Achav in this battle over here. How ironic that is. Now, this was the story of the book of Kings way back then. But this still chases after the Jewish people this philosophy of being merciful to the cruel, to the enemies. This runs after us to this very day, even after the Jewish people have returned to their land. How incredible that is. Why, just today, in fact, there was a verdict from the High Court to reduce the sentence of an Arab terrorist, a young child at the time, who first of all got off almost scot-free with only a 12-year sentence. But the judges, the merciful judges of the Supreme Court, thought, oh, that's too harsh of a punishment for a 15-year-old boy. And so they reduced it even more, to a mere 9 years. And after good behavior, he'll be out back on the streets by the time he's 19 years old, including to become a hero, and the money that he receives, and all this mercy upon the cruel, upon the enemies who come to kill us, is just insane. Just insane. These are people who want to kill us. These are people who want to outcast us from our own land. This is a war to the end. But this incredible mercy that they have to the enemy, to the cruel, in turn comes down, as King Solomon told us, in the end, these same very people who are so merciful to the enemies will be cruel to their own people. And we've seen this time and time again, whether it was in Gush Katif, Amona, or any other places like that. In fact, if we go back to the war in Gaza that took place a few years ago during the summer, there too, we send in the best of our soldiers. Instead of annihilating them from the air, because we have the superiority of the Air Force, which could just wipe them off. No, but there, by doing that, maybe some casualties to the civilians may happen. Chaf me pesha. These people shouldn't be there, obviously, in a warfare zone. So because of that, we send the best of our sons and our fathers into battle, who obviously, some die, all to save the civilians of the enemies. Now this is fulfillment of the pasuk that Shlomo Melech said, that in the end, we will be cruel to our own people. This is the message that we bring down from the Parsha Shavua. God warns us over here in the Parsha. Do not take pity on them. Oh, they may look, oh yes, but these are the enemy. These are the people who are coming to kill you, to uproot you from here. And they will never stop. Do not take pity on them. Wipe them out. That's of course what must be done. But we see today the opposite. We have mercy on the cruel. And in the end, these people will arise again to come to try to destroy the Jewish people. This is the lesson that we must take home from the Parsha. God, in his great wisdom, knew the minds of the Jewish people. And he already warned us, do not take pity on the cruel, on your enemy. Levi Chazan, Parsha Shavua.